The night was cold, and the rain was heavy over New Haven City. Neon lights reflected on the wet streets, making the world look like it was crying in colors. Inside a small, half-broken apartment, Ethan Cole, a lonely engineer, was fixing an old solar panel by hand. He had lost his job 6 months ago, and now he survived by repairing scrap machines for food credits. He was tired, until he heard it. A soft knock at the door. Once, then twice. Then silence. Ethan frowned. No one ever visited him. He stood up, looked through the peephole, nothing. But then, a small voice whispered from outside. "Please, help us." He opened the door slowly, his old wrench still in hand. 2 small figures stood in the rain. They weren't human. Their skin was pale silver, almost glowing under the streetlight. Their eyes were huge and violet, filled with fear. Their thin hands clutched each other tightly as they trembled. They looked like lost children. Ethan froze. "What are you?" The taller one stepped forward, her voice shaking. We are from Aria 9. Our ship crashed. They are hunting us." Ethan blinked, confused. "Aliens here? You're not joking?" The younger one started crying softly. "Please, sir. We have nowhere to go. The humans outside. They throw stones. They say we are monsters." Something inside Ethan broke at those words. He knew what it was like to be unwanted. He had been abandoned too, first by his parents, then by the world that didn't need engineers anymore. He sighed, lowering the wrench. "Come inside, before someone sees you." The 2 alien girls stepped in carefully. Their feet left tiny wet marks on the floor. One of them looked around, amazed at even the broken furniture. "You live here alone?" she asked. "Yeah," Ethan said. "Not much, but it's safe." For a moment, there was silence. The younger one, maybe 12 years old in human years, whispered, "We can work for you, or we can sleep beside you if that helps. Just don't send us away." Ethan froze again. Their tone was innocent, but their words were full of desperation. They weren't offering sin, they were offering survival. He knelt down to their level. "No, you don't have to do that. You just need rest." They looked at him, confused. Ethan pointed to the couch. "Sleep there. You're safe here." For the first time, the 2 alien girls smiled weakly. He gave them old blankets, watched them curl up close together like frightened kittens. As they slept, he sat near the window, staring out at the neon city. Something about them bothered him. Not in a bad way, but in a strange scientific way. Their silver skin reflected small electric waves from the nearby power lines, almost like they were absorbing energy. Ethan had read about energy-based alien biology theories years ago, but seeing it in front of his eyes, it made his heart race. He whispered to himself, "What are you 2 really made of?" Suddenly, one of the girls murmured in her sleep, "The hunters. They took Mother. They want the core." Ethan leaned closer. "Core? What core?" But she didn't answer. She turned, and a faint light glowed under her skin like a pulse of blue fire. Ethan's eyes widened. That wasn't normal biology. It looked engineered. He stood there in shock. If what he saw was real, these girls weren't just aliens, they were living reactors. Living technology, and someone wanted them back. A loud thunder cracked outside. Then he saw it. A black drone hovering in the rain, scanning the streets with a red beam. Military-grade. Ethan's heart raced. They found them. He turned off the lights, grabbed a blanket, and covered the girls quickly. The red beam moved past his window and disappeared into the night. He stood there, breathing hard. For the first time in years, he felt something alive inside him. Purpose. He whispered to himself, "If the world wants to hurt them, they'll have to go through me first." He looked at the 2 girls sleeping peacefully, unaware of the danger coming. Outside, thunder roared again. Somewhere far away, a new storm was rising. Not of rain, but of secrets, science, and survival. And Ethan didn't know yet that the 2 alien girls he just saved were holding something powerful enough to change all of humanity. The rain didn't stop that night. It fell like an endless whisper over the city, washing away secrets that refused to die. Inside his small apartment, Ethan Cole sat awake, his eyes fixed on the 2 alien girls sleeping on the couch. Their soft blue glow pulsed under the blanket, faint but steady, like twin heartbeats of a distant star. He hadn't slept a minute. He couldn't. Something about them haunted him. Not fear, but a strange responsibility. The words the younger one had mumbled in her sleep kept echoing in his mind. They took Mother. They want the core. Ethan opened his old tablet, searching through old research networks still connected to his workshop ID. Core, Arya-9, biogenic reactors, he muttered. But the results were locked, red-tagged by the Global Defense Agency, GDA, classified. He cursed under his breath. So they were telling the truth. Just then the older girl stirred. Her violet eyes opened slowly, scanning the room. "Did we sleep long?" she asked softly. "Few hours," Ethan replied. "You two okay?" The younger one yawned. "It's warm here. You have good energy waves." Ethan smiled faintly. "Energy waves?" The girl blinked. "Your heart, it's kind." He froze for a second. Did she just feel his emotions? Before he could ask, the apartment lights flickered. Once, twice. Then the power went out completely. Ethan frowned. "Not again." He grabbed his flashlight and stepped toward the window. What he saw outside made his blood turn cold. 3 dark drones hovered over the street, their red scanners slicing through the rain. But this time they weren't alone. On the corner stood 3 armored men moving like shadows, wearing black suits with glowing blue visors. Each one carried a rifle that hummed quietly, too advanced for civilian use. Ethan's voice dropped to a whisper. "GDA hunters." The older alien girl stood beside him now, silent and pale. "They followed our energy signature," she said. "We didn't have time to hide it." Ethan turned to her sharply. "They'll find this place soon. We have to move." The younger one clutched his sleeve. "But where? The city hates us." Ethan hesitated only for a moment. Then he grabbed his backpack and motioned for them to follow. "Downstairs. There's a maintenance tunnel, hurry." The trio slipped out through the back door, moving through puddles and broken metal. The rain masked their footsteps, but the hum of drones grew louder above. Ethan's mind raced. Why would GDA want children? What kind of threat could they be? They reached the old service hatch. Ethan pulled it open, revealing a dark tunnel that led deep under the city. One of the old power conduits from before the energy wars. "In here," he said. "Stay quiet." The girls followed. Inside the tunnel was damp and cold. The air smelled of iron and electricity. As they moved deeper, faint blue light from the alien's skin illuminated the path. After several minutes, they stopped to rest. Ethan leaned against the wall, breathing hard. The older girl finally spoke. "You helped us, even though you knew we're not like you. Why?" Ethan looked at her, his eyes tired but firm. "Because I know what it's like to be thrown away. And because I don't think you're monsters," the girl nodded slowly. "On Arya-9, humans were a story. Warriors from a dying world. Builders who turned ruins into stars. We came here to find one. Maybe that's you." Ethan frowned. "Find a human? Why?" She hesitated. "To finish what Mother started. To protect the core." Ethan leaned forward. "Tell me what it is." The younger girl answered this time, her voice barely a whisper. "It's not a machine. It's life. It can bring balance to dying worlds." "But they want it. To make weapons." Ethan froze. "You mean the core can create life?" The girl nodded. "But without Mother, it will fade. We were made to guard it." Suddenly, a loud metallic clang echoed through the tunnel. Ethan grabbed his flashlight, his heart pounding. A voice echoed from above. "GDA Unit Delta 4 scanning life signatures. Sector 9 conduit breach detected. The hunters had found them." Ethan turned to the girls. "Go, move." They ran through the tunnel, splashing water everywhere. Behind them, the heavy boots of soldiers hit the metal floor, and red lights began to flash. Ethan threw his old toolkit against the tunnel wall, creating sparks that burst into flame. A desperate distraction. "Go left," he shouted. The tunnel opened into an old chamber filled with broken generators. Ethan slammed the door shut behind them and locked it with a metal bar. The girls looked at him, eyes wide with fear. "What now?" the younger one asked. Ethan picked up an old plasma cutter. "Now I buy us time," he smiled grimly. "You said humans build stars out of ruins, right? Let's start small." The girls watched as Ethan stood between them and the door, ready to fight the hunters alone. Outside, the sound of metal boots grew louder, and somewhere deep in the darkness, the core inside the alien girls pulsed brighter, as if it was answering something inside Ethan. The sound of boots grew louder. Echoes bounced through the tunnel like the heartbeat of danger. The door shook violently as the GDA soldiers pounded on it, their voices mechanical and cold. "Open this door. You are harboring classified bioforms." Inside the chamber, Ethan Cole stood between the door and the two alien girls. His hands trembled slightly, but his eyes were steady. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. He was just a man who refused to abandon two frightened lives. The younger girl clung to his sleeve. "They will kill us." "Please, Ethan, please don't." He cut her off gently. "Hey, look at me. I said I'll protect you." "I meant it." The older girl stepped forward. "They will not stop. We are marked by the core. They can sense it anywhere we go." Ethan thought fast. His brain shifted into the same mode he used back in his engineering days, problem-solving under pressure. His eyes darted to the broken generators around them, rusted, dead for decades, but maybe not useless. He ran to one of them and pulled open the access panel. Inside, the power cell was cracked but still faintly glowing. He smiled grimly. Good enough. He tore off some wires, twisted two together, and sparks flew. The air filled with the smell of ozone. The younger girl's eyes widened. "What are you doing?" "Turning this place into a surprise," Ethan said. The door rattled again. A metallic voice boomed, "Final warning!" He pulled one more cable free, connecting it to a metal pipe that led toward the entrance. The entire room began to hum softly. Then, with a deep breath, Ethan turned to the girls. "When they break through, stay behind me. And no matter what happens, don't scream." The door burst open. 3 armored soldiers stormed in, their red visors flashing. The first raised his weapon and was hit by a bright surge of blue lightning. The room exploded with light as electricity from the old generator coursed through the wet metal floor. The soldiers convulsed, shouting through static-filled helmets. 2 fell instantly. The third fired a pulse shot that hit the wall beside Ethan, scorching the metal. Ethan ducked, coughing from the smoke. He could feel the heat singeing his arm, but he didn't stop. He grabbed a broken metal rod and slammed it against the pipe again, sending another jolt through the air. This time, the last soldier fell. Silence followed, broken only by the dripping of water and Ethan's ragged breathing. His arm was bleeding, his shirt torn, but he was alive. He turned to the girls. "You okay?" The younger one ran to him, her violet eyes full of tears. "You're hurt." He smiled weakly. "Just another Tuesday." The older girl looked at the fallen soldiers. "You risked your life for us." Ethan shrugged. "That's what humans do. We protect the helpless, even when the odds are stupid." She looked at him differently then, not as a stranger, but as something rare. On her homeworld, warriors fought for power. But this human fought for compassion. Suddenly, the younger girl gasped. "Ethan, your hand!" He looked down. Blue light pulsed under his skin, faint, like threads of energy moving through his veins. The same glow as the girl's. He froze. "What the hell?" The older girl stepped closer, her expression serious. "You touched the energy core inside the generator, and it responded to us, to our kind." Ethan backed up slightly. "You mean, it changed me?" "No," she said softly. "It revealed what was already there." He frowned. "What are you talking about?" She hesitated. "Your blood. It carries resonance, just like Mother's design. You're not a normal human." Ethan's mind reeled. "That's impossible." The younger girl stepped closer. "Maybe not. Maybe you are the one we were sent to find." Before he could respond, the sound of more drones echoed in the distance. Red lights flickered from the tunnel ahead. The GDA wasn't done. They had reinforcements. Ethan grabbed his bag and motioned toward the far end of the chamber. "We're leaving now." The older girl nodded. "There's an exit near the old rail lines. It leads to the abandoned sector." They ran, stepping over broken pipes and flickering lights. As they reached the old exit hatch, Ethan looked back one last time at the scorched bodies of the soldiers. He whispered almost to himself, "They'll never stop. Not until they have you," the older girl replied softly. "Then we'll make them stop. Together." They climbed through the tunnel, emerging into the ruins of the city's forgotten zone, a place where no drones flew and no humans lived. As the storm above them began to fade, a new light rose from the horizon, soft blue and alive. It came from the younger girl's chest, glowing brighter than ever before. Ethan stared at it in awe. "Is that the core?" The older one nodded. "It's awakening. Because of you." Ethan's heartbeat matched the light's rhythm, human and alien, pulsing as one. He didn't understand it yet, but deep inside something ancient was waking up, something the universe itself had almost forgotten. The old city sector was silent. No neon lights, no flying cars, no drones, only broken towers covered in vines and rust. It was the part of New Haven everyone had forgotten. Ethan Cole walked slowly, guiding the two alien girls through the shadows. His left arm still burned from the last fight. The blue glow beneath his skin hadn't faded. It was stronger now, moving like living light through his veins. The younger girl watched it with wide eyes. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Ethan forced a tired smile. "It's terrifying." The older one, quiet and serious as always, scanned the area. "This place. It has no energy grid. We can rest here." They entered an old train station half buried in rubble. The roof was cracked and beams of moonlight fell through the holes. An old sign read, "Sector 12 Maintenance Hub." Ethan set down his bag, exhaling. "All right, we'll hide here until morning." The girls curled up near an overturned bench. Ethan sat beside them, staring at his glowing hand. He could feel the hum of energy inside him like a second heartbeat. It wasn't just light. It was something alive. He finally asked, "You said I'm not normal." "What did you mean?" The older girl hesitated before speaking. "Before our world died, our mother created something special. A fusion of human and Arya DNA. A bridge between two species. She called it the link." Ethan frowned. "You're saying I'm part alien?" "Not part," she replied softly. "Connected. The link allows the core to respond to you." The younger one tilted her head. "Maybe you were meant to finish Mother's mission." Ethan rubbed his temples. "Mother's mission? What was it?" The older girl's voice turned heavy. "To heal worlds. The core can grow forests, clean air, rebuild oceans. But the GDA discovered it could also destroy. They wanted it for war." Ethan's chest tightened. "That's why they're hunting you." She nodded. "They captured Mother to force her to make more cores, but she hid the last one inside us before they took her." The words hit him like lightning. Two children carrying the universe's last miracle, and every government chasing them for it. Ethan looked at them both, then at his glowing arm. "Then we protect it, no matter what." The younger girl smiled for the first time. "You sound like Mother." He chuckled softly. "Let's hope I'm smarter than her enemies." Hours passed. The city above remained quiet. Ethan dozed off for a moment, only to wake to a strange humming sound. The younger girl stood in the center of the station, glowing brighter than before. Blue light pulsed around her, forming small orbs that floated through the air like fireflies. Ethan stood quickly. "Hey, what's happening?" The older one whispered. "The core. It's synchronizing with you. Your presence is awakening it." The floating lights moved toward Ethan, circling him slowly. He could feel warmth spreading through his body, pain fading, strength returning. His wounds closed before his eyes. Then a deep tone filled the air like the voice of a distant star. A faint holographic figure appeared between them, tall, elegant, with silver skin and eyes like galaxies. The younger girl gasped. "Mother." The hologram spoke softly. "My daughters, you survived." Her gaze turned to Ethan. "And you found the link." Ethan stared, stunned. "You're real?" "Not anymore," the hologram said. "Only my echo remains. Listen carefully." She looked at him with calm, knowing eyes. "Human, you carry the key that can awaken the core's full power. But with it comes danger. The GDA will not stop. They fear what they do not understand." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then we fight back." The hologram smiled faintly. "Fight if you must. But remember, creation is stronger than destruction." The light began to fade. The girls reached out desperately. "Mother, don't go. Find the place where the sky burns," she said. "There, the core will bloom." And then she was gone. The room fell silent again, except for the faint sound of Ethan's breathing. He looked at the girls. Both were crying silently, glowing softly in the dark. He knelt down. "We'll find it," he promised. "Wherever that burning sky is, we'll find it." The older one nodded slowly. "Then we go north. The sky burns there every dawn, near the old reactor fields." Ethan looked out through the broken glass at the horizon, where faint orange light was already beginning to rise. "Then that's our next stop." But just as hope sparked again, a cold mechanical voice echoed through the tunnel. "Target signal reacquired. Deploying intercept unit." Ethan's blood ran cold. Outside the station, red lights began to appear. Hundreds this time. The GDA had found them again, faster than expected. The younger girl whispered, trembling, "They shouldn't have been able to track us here." Ethan's expression hardened. Unless someone wanted them to. The older one's eyes widened. "You mean, someone sent a signal?" Before he could answer, the walls shook as drones burst through the ceiling, flooding the station with crimson light. Ethan grabbed a metal beam, his eyes glowing bright blue now, brighter than ever. This time the energy inside him didn't feel like fear. It felt like fire. He turned to the girls and said quietly, "Stay behind me." As the drones aimed their guns, Ethan raised his hand. The air shimmered. The blue glow exploded outward like a wave, raw, human, and unstoppable. And for the first time, the hunters realized they weren't chasing prey anymore. They were facing something they couldn't understand. The night exploded with light. Drones poured through the ceiling of the broken station like a swarm of metal locusts. Red beams flashed, sirens screamed, and the air burned with static. But in the center of the chaos, Ethan Cole stood tall, his arm glowing like liquid lightning. He didn't understand the power running through him, but he felt it. It was alive, wild, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat, and for the first time he didn't feel human. He felt more. "Stay down," he shouted, shielding the two alien girls behind him. A drone fired, but before the plasma bolt could reach them, Ethan raised his hand instinctively. A wall of blue energy burst from his palm, like a wave of glass and light. The blast hit the shield and scattered harmlessly into sparks. The younger girl gasped. "Ethan, you can control it!" He gritted his teeth. "I'm learning fast." Another drone dived toward him. Ethan swung his arm and a pulse of blue light shot out, slamming the machine against the wall. It shattered instantly, but more kept coming. 10, 20, a full strike squad. The older girl's eyes glowed as she scanned the air. "They're adapting. You can't hold this much energy alone." Ethan didn't answer. His focus narrowed. Every sound, every flicker of light seemed to slow down. He felt something deep inside him, the same hum he'd felt when he met the girls. But now it was stronger, calling him. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Show me." And it did. In his mind, he saw lines of light stretching through the city. Old energy conduits, forgotten circuits, silent machines waiting for a signal. He reached out with his mind, and they answered. The ground trembled as buried generators came alive. Blue veins of light spread through the cracked floors, racing outward like a living network. Ethan opened his eyes. The whole station was glowing now, and he was its heartbeat. He raised both hands and the light surged upward, turning into a massive energy wave that exploded through the air. Every drone froze mid-flight, their red eyes flickering to blue before collapsing to the ground like puppets with cut strings. Then, silence. Only the sound of dripping water and the faint hum of energy remained. Ethan fell to his knees, breathing heavily, his hands still sparked with faint light. The younger girl rushed to him. "Ethan, stop. You'll burn yourself." He smiled weakly. "I'm okay, I think it's part of me now." The older one helped him stand. That was resonance. "The link has fully awakened. You're connected to the core now." Ethan frowned. "So what happens next?" Her expression darkened. "Now, they'll send something worse." Far above the ruined city, in a hovering command ship, a man watched the live feed on a holographic screen. Director Voss, head of GDA operations, stared at the image of Ethan surrounded by blue light. "Impossible," he muttered. "The Link project was terminated decades ago." An officer beside him replied, "Sir, the energy readings match the Aria core frequency exactly. The human is syncing with it." Voss's cold eyes narrowed. "Then we're running out of time. Deploy Unit Seraph 01, the officer hesitated. "Sir, Seraph hasn't been tested." "Now," Voss said sharply. "Before the link reaches full resonance. If it does, we won't be able to control it." The officer nodded and hurried off. Voss turned back to the screen. He zoomed in on Ethan's exhausted face. "You don't know what you are, boy," he said softly. "But I do. You're the weapon we buried in history." Back on the ground, Ethan and the girls made their way through the tunnels again. The blue glow inside them was dimming, stabilizing. They found a small shelter under the old reactor bridge. Ethan patched a cut on his shoulder while the older girl scanned their surroundings with her wrist device. "No signals nearby," she said. "We're safe for now." Ethan leaned against the wall, exhausted. Safe, he repeated quietly. That's a word I barely remember. The younger girl smiled softly. You made us safe, Ethan. He looked at her and then at his hands. I don't even know how I did it. The older one replied, because the core trusts you. It reacts to emotions. It responds to protection, not power. That's why you could do what we couldn't. Ethan nodded slowly. So it's not about strength. It's about intent, she smiled faintly. Exactly. You humans have something our kind never understood, heart. For a brief moment, there was peace. The three of them sat together, breathing quietly. The storm outside was gone, but then a low vibration filled the air, deeper than thunder, heavier than any machine. The ground trembled. The younger girl covered her ears. What's that sound? Ethan stood quickly. The sky above the reactor field began to glow red, like fire spreading across the clouds. The older one's face went pale. They deployed something big. That energy signature? It's Seraph. Seraph? Ethan asked. A hybrid weapon, she whispered. Part human, part machine, built to destroy us. Ethan clenched his fists. Then they made a mistake. He turned toward the rising red sky. Because now I'm done running. The older girl stepped beside him. If you fight, you may not survive. He gave her a half smile. Maybe not. But I'll make sure they remember why humans should never be underestimated. As the red glow grew brighter, the wind picked up, carrying the sound of something massive descending from the clouds, wings of fire and metal. The core inside the girls pulsed, syncing with Ethan's heartbeat again. And somewhere deep inside him, the link whispered, "This is what you were made for." The sky was burning. Over the ruined city, clouds split open as something enormous descended from the heavens. The air shook with the force of its arrival. Fire trailed behind its metallic wings. Seraph 01, a hybrid of man and machine, built by the Global Defense Agency as the ultimate hunter. It was twice the size of a human, covered in silver armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Its face was hidden behind a smooth mask, glowing red eyes burning through the storm. From far below, Ethan Cole stared up at it, the alien girl standing close beside him. The wind whipped through the ruins, scattering dust and sparks. The younger girl clutched his sleeve. That thing, it feels alive. The older one whispered, it is alive. A creation made with the same technology as the link. Only twisted. Ethan's eyes narrowed. So they copied the core. She nodded grimly. They tried. But without the balance of human empathy, it turned into rage. A deafening voice echoed through the sky, metallic and cold. Subject Ethan Cole, surrender the bioforms, resistance will result in elimination. Ethan stared up, his pulse matching the core's faint blue glow. You'll have to come and take them. The Seraph spread its wings wide. Energy pulsed from its back and a sonic wave blasted outward, flattening everything within 100 meters. Ethan and the girls ducked behind broken steel pillars as debris rained down around them. Ethan coughed. Stay down. Don't move until I say. The Seraph landed on the ground with a metallic thud, leaving cracks in the concrete. It walked slowly toward them, step by step. The link must be terminated. Ethan rose to his feet, blood on his face but fire in his eyes. You talk too much. He raised his hand. Blue light burst out, forming a barrier just as the Seraph fired a beam of red plasma. The blast hit the shield with the force of an explosion, throwing Ethan back several feet. He hit the ground hard, his arm shaking violently. The shield flickered and broke. The younger girl screamed, Ethan! But he pushed himself up, refusing to fall. I'm not done yet. He charged forward, energy flaring around him. The Seraph swung its arm and a metal blade extended from its wrist, glowing red hot. Ethan dodged, barely missing the strike, then slammed his glowing fist into its chest. A shockwave erupted, blue against red, human against machine. Sparks flew everywhere. The ground cracked beneath them. The Seraph staggered back for a moment, but it wasn't enough. It raised its arm again, faster this time, and punched Ethan square in the chest. He flew backwards, smashing through a wall. Pain ripped through his body. He gasped, trying to stand. His hand trembled. The blue light was fading. The Seraph's shadow fell over him. You are not the first link, all have failed. Ethan spat blood, smiling weakly. Then maybe I'll be the last. The core inside the alien girls pulsed violently, responding to Ethan's pain. The older one's eyes widened. He's connected completely. The core is trying to merge. The younger girl cried out, "We have to help him." She ran forward despite her sister's warning, placing her hands on Ethan's chest. The blue light from her skin spread into him, her energy mixing with his. Ethan gasped as warmth flooded his body. The glow in his veins reignited, brighter and stronger than ever. He looked at her in shock. "What are you doing?" The girl smiled weakly. "Sharing our light." The seraph roared, raising its arm for a killing strike. But this time Ethan stood calmly. The ground beneath him began to vibrate, and his eyes glowed pure white blue. The light was no longer wild as it was controlled. Harmonized, he whispered. Resonance complete. The air around him exploded outward. In a single heartbeat, every loose object lifted into the air. Stones, metal, even dust particles. All frozen in blue light. The seraph's sensors went wild. "Warning! Energy surge, undefined frequency." Ethan looked up at the machine, his voice calm but filled with power. "You were made to destroy. I was made to protect. That's the difference between us." He raised his hand. The energy condensed into a blinding sphere and then shot forward like a comet. The seraph tried to block, but the impact shattered its armor. Its wings caught fire, its red eyes flickered, and it screamed in static rage. The explosion lit up the entire sky. When the smoke cleared, the seraph was on one knee, its chest glowing with cracks of red and blue light. Ethan walked toward it, every step echoing with thunder. "You're not my enemy," he said quietly. "You're proof of what they fear, that humans can still become something greater." The seraph lifted its head weakly. Its voice glitched. "You are the missing equation." And then it fell silent, collapsing into the dust. Ethan stood over the wreck, breathing heavily. The girls ran to him, their eyes wide. The older one said softly, "You defeated a god." Ethan shook his head. "No, I reminded it what it means to be alive." He looked up at the sky. The storm had cleared. The red glow was gone, replaced by soft dawn light. But peace didn't last. In the distance, a fleet of GDA ships began descending through the clouds. The younger girl whispered, "They're sending more." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then we keep moving. We find the place where the sky burns." The older one looked at him. "And if the core awakens fully?" Ethan stared at the rising sun, his voice low but steady. "Then I make sure it belongs to everyone, not just the ones who think they deserve it." Behind him, the seraph's broken body flickered once more, a single red eye turning blue before fading away. It wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something bigger. The world was quiet after the storm. The city's ruins glowed faintly under a pale orange sky. Broken towers stood like skeletons of a forgotten age. Smoke drifted gently where the seraph had fallen, its blue-red core still flickering in silence. Ethan Cole walked slowly through the wreckage, the two alien girls beside him. The youngest leaned on his arm, tired but smiling faintly. The older one scanned the sky every few seconds, cautious, alert, ready. Above them, the horizon burned in shades of crimson and gold. That was where they were going, the place where the sky burned. The path was long and silent. Ethan's body ached with every step, but the energy inside him, the link, pulsed steady and calm. It no longer felt foreign. It felt like part of him. Finally, after hours of walking, they reached the edge of the old reactor fields. Once, these plains had powered half of Earth. Now they were wastelands of glass and ash. Yet in the middle stood something impossible. A pillar of light rising from the ground, swirling like a living flame. The younger girl gasped. "It's the core signal." Ethan stared in awe. "It's beautiful," the older one nodded. "This is where Mother built the first life engine. The core's heart sleeps beneath." Ethan felt the pull, a deep hum inside his chest calling him closer. He stepped forward, the ground vibrating under his boots. As they neared the pillar, blue light burst upward, wrapping around them like ribbons of fire. The girls began to glow too, their silver skin shining bright. The air filled with voices, faint, echoing memories from long ago. Balance, creation, unity. Ethan's heart pounded. He could see flashes, images of alien cities, green worlds, humans and Aryans working together. And then war, fire, destruction. He fell to his knees, clutching his head. The older girl ran to him. Ethan, what's wrong? I see everything, he said through clenched teeth. The core. It's showing me its past. The younger one knelt beside him, tears in her violet eyes. Then you're the one it chose. The pillar of light expanded, forming a sphere around them. In the center appeared a familiar holographic figure, Mother, calm and radiant. My daughters, she said softly, and my Link, you found me at last. Ethan looked up, his voice shaking. What do you want from me? Mother's gaze was kind but sorrowful. To finish what I began. The core can heal this planet, or erase it. Only your choice decides. The older girl stepped forward. But the GDA ships are coming. If they find the core, Mother interrupted gently, then all life will end in fear again. The only way to stop them is to awaken the core completely. But it will require sacrifice, Ethan's voice hardened. Whose sacrifice? Mother looked at him. Yours. The words hit like thunder. The girls froze. The younger one cried out, No! He saved us! Mother's voice softened. That is why he can save them all. The link was created to fuse human will with the core's heart. Only through him can balance return. Ethan stood slowly, his hands glowing bright. If I do this, what happens to me? You become part of the core, Mother said. Your body will fade, but your spirit will live in every piece of life it creates. He looked at the girls, two small faces filled with fear and love. Ethan, the older one said, her voice trembling, you don't have to. He smiled sadly. I do. If I don't, everything we've fought for means nothing. He turned toward the pillar of light. The wind rose around him, carrying sparks into the air. The girls grabbed his hands. Please don't leave us alone. Ethan looked at them, eyes shining with quiet warmth. You won't be alone. Every time the wind blows, every time the light touches your skin, and that'll be me. He stepped into the pillar. Instantly, the world changed. The sky turned white. The ground trembled. Blue fire spread across the wasteland, reaching the clouds. The GDA fleet above began to disintegrate, their weapons melting into harmless particles of light. Inside the light, Ethan felt peace. He saw Earth from above, barren lands turning green, poisoned oceans clearing, flowers blooming where ashes once lay. He heard Mother's voice one last time. You have done what no machine or empire could do, human. You believed. Then everything went silent. When the light faded, the girls stood alone in the golden dawn. The pillar was gone. Only a faint breeze moved across the field, warm and alive. The younger one whispered, He's gone. The older girl smiled through her tears. No, he's everywhere now. They looked up at the sky. A new sun broke through the clouds, brighter, purer, breathing life into a world reborn. In that moment, the galaxy's oldest truth returned, that even in the darkest universe, human will can create light.